Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 31 through 33 of RuYi's Royal Love. Let me just start with what is quite literally the sweetest scene in this whole drama. RuYi wasn't able to get Yanwan out of the gardening department, but now all she has to do is deliver flowers, so she won't have to do hard labor anymore. Aww. One rainy day, RuYi bumps into the two lovebirds. Yanwan is doing her new job in delivering flowers to the Empress, so RuYi tells her to tag along with her. They arrive to find Jia there as well. RuYi is there to introduce 5th Prince, and it should be a quick in and out, but Jia stirs up some drama, commenting that the flowers on RuYi's dress sure do look like the yellow peonies Yanwan brought.
人人都知道，这摇黄牡丹是万花之王，只有中宫的皇后娘娘才配用。
RuYi uses this as an excuse to leave, apologizing and saying that she will get rid of the dress. And so begins the worst string of bad luck in the series.
把那盆花端下去。
Yanwan gets bumped into and drops the potted plant. She apologizes, innocently saying RuYi was kind enough to walk her over here and she still made such a silly mistake. But the real mistake here was saying anything good about RuYi in front of these two. Jia picks up on the Empress's vibe and offers to take Yanwan in, clearly just to bully her. And in a characteristic Empress move, because of course she knows what Jia means to do to her, she says, okay, teach her how to be a good maid then. If you doubt at all that the Empress is truly an evil person willing to kill for the most mundane reasons when it comes to RuYi, take a look at this scene right after RuYi is saved from the fire in the cold palace.
到底是谁救了她？
左右不过就冷宫的侍卫罢了，
本宫非得处置了他们。
不可，皇后娘娘。
She was so angry that the guards did their job and saved RuYi that she would have killed them. Real people with real families dead because they did their job. Jia is absolutely right in thinking that the Empress wants to hurt Yanwan, even though all she did was express a bit of gratitude to RuYi. Yanwan is just an unlucky pawn, a way for Jia to fulfill the Empress's wishes without making her look bad. In fact, it's the same reason Jia's always so blatantly rude to RuYi, who has never said a cross word to her. I don't really think Jia feels anything for RuYi one way or the other, but she pretends to hate her because the Empress loves it. She even changes Yanwan's name to Ying'er after RuYi's maiden name Qingying, pretty much just putting up a billboard that says, "This is because I hate RuYi." We finally get a look behind Jia's exterior and find out about her history. When she was younger, she met her clan's crown prince and it was love at first sight.
我从没看过那么好看的笑容。
They were all but engaged, but then she was forced to marry the emperor for political reasons. Even though the prince didn't fight to keep her, she is convinced that he loved her and simply had no choice but to let her go. So, she came to the Forbidden City, and everything she does is for the glory of her clan, but more selfishly to make him happy.
每当我看到这个手串，就好像是他陪我在这遥远的深宫一样。
I won't lie, I'm a little disappointed that at the heart of all this badassery was just some dude. Jia is so cool, and it would have been interesting to have a character who simply wants power and is intelligent and ruthless enough to see it happen. But no, all of the scheming has been for this guy, who bought her a dollar store bracelet and didn't even make an effort to save her from this marriage. Ah well, I will admit, from her point of view, the story she tells is really quite heartbreaking and beautiful.
我不想看到他难过，我想看到他笑，就像我第一次看到他时那样。
I mean, that's really sweet. And then back to Yanwan. Life at Jia's palace is terrible, but it gets even worse when Chun comes to visit Jia and spots her. She tells Jia about how Yanwan used to work for her, taking care of the 1st prince, until she fired her for trying to seduce the emperor. Jia was already mistreating her for the empress, but now she gets another reason to do so, and explicitly tells all the other maids to make Yanwan's life as miserable as possible.
不许给他好衣服穿，不许好吃好喝，更不许皇上见了他。 听懂了吗？
I feel like Jia must be particularly sensitive to maids trying to marry above their station thanks to RuYi. As for why everyone else is so vicious, I feel like palace life must suck so much that these maids have a lot of repressed rage that they are happy to take out on someone else. Yunche finds out what happened and asks RuYi for help. In fact, it's not just Yunche. Everyone is clearly uncomfortable about how unnecessarily cruel Jia is to this random maid, but since the Empress won't address it, there's nothing to be done. RuYi tells Yunche that they have no choice but to wait until Jia loses interest. If she makes it obvious to Jia that she wants Yanwan, Jia will be all the more unwilling to let her go. If you've ever played with a dog, you get the idea. And I get it. But then we cut to 3 years later, so clearly that did not work. Chun has given birth to the sixth prince. She now has 3 sons, and the empress is feeling the pressure. She begins to take fertility drugs to excess, hoping to get pregnant. Meanwhile, noble consort Hui, who is still under permanent house arrest, has become so sick that it looks like she won't make it another month. To make matters worse, scabies start spreading around her palace, killing some of her staff and leaving her with only her head maid. RuYi goes to see her. She reveals what she knows about Dr. Qi messing with her meds so she doesn't recover, and also reveals the secret of the bangles that the empress gave them so many years ago. Can I just say, there are a lot of women struggling with birth control. If this magical infertility bracelet with no negative repercussions exists, why isn't it still a thing? Hui is devastated to find out that the empress never saw her as a friend, only competition. It didn't matter how loyal she was, the empress would never have allowed her to have children. With Hui primed and ready to spill about all the empress's misdeeds, RuYi encourages the emperor to visit her one last time. And he does. Hui doesn't fail us and tells the emperor everything. The empress's role in the whole aro thing, the poisonous snakes, the fire, the bracelets, RuYi's rheumatism. She even goes as far back as when the empress had Lian Xin marry that crazy eunuch so they could spy on him. As we know, the emperor cares about nothing more than his reputation and, by extension, the reputation of his queen. It's clear he doesn't want to believe it.
你可知污蔑皇后是什么罪名？
Hui's expression says it all. He would rather live with his eyes closed than face reality. This is the man she wasted her life on. She reveals that she knows he has been scheming against her as well, ordering Dr. Qi to make sure she doesn't get better. What she doesn't know is the emperor isn't actually behind this.
又为何要对你下手呢？
After he leaves, Hui tells her maid to burn the cushion he was sitting on because it was infected with scabies, getting herself a little revenge before she goes. And that's the end of Hui. I must say, I'm gonna miss her. She was so stupid and harmless, and she always wore her emotions on her sleeve. When she's happy, she smiles. When she's angry, she throws tantrums. There's never any pretense with her, and I found that kind of endearing. And I say harmless because even when she did try to hurt people, it was always so flimsy and easy to see through that no one actually got hurt. Even her desperate desire to have a baby, I don't feel went much deeper than surface level. She probably just wanted something cute to dress up. Compare that with someone like the Empress, who only ever used her son as a pawn to get power. I know she was a bad person, but I think in another life she could have been different.
满意。
When the Emperor sees RuYi next, he says the bangle she's wearing is outdated and she should get a new one, allowing RuYi to confirm that Hui spilled her guts before dying. He decides to promote both RuYi and Chun to noble consorts to replace Hui. He actually wants RuYi in that top position, but Chun has 3 sons, so that would be a bit awkward. Hailan also gets promoted to consort. Later, the Empress shoots herself in the foot by asking RuYi in front of the Emperor why she isn't wearing the bangle she gave her. Like, girl, take a hint, they obviously know. At the very least, why would you bring it up in front of the Emperor? The excuse is that it's inauspicious to share jewelry with a dead person, and once again, the Empress gets off scot-free. Man, is Jia vicious. I feel bad for Yanwan, I really do. She just has the worst luck. The way she drops Yuncha whenever it suits her is cold, but it's not evil. She definitely hasn't done anything to deserve even half of the treatment from Jia. She'd have a strong case for workplace violence if anyone cared. Anyway, Yuncha loves her, and I love Yuncha, so I can't help but want RuYi to save her. It is pretty funny watching RuYi get annoyed with how in love he is, though.
首先你去告诉林云彻，让他心心听听自己吧。是，别老想着别演的。
As for Hui's death, when the Empress Dowager hears about Hui's death, here's what she says.
骨肉分离之痛，哀家尝了，也该高兵尝尝了。
She's talking about Hui's father, and in a very well done reveal, we find out that the Empress Dowager is behind Hui's sketchy medication and subsequent death.
齐汝差事办得好啊！
You might be asking yourself why the Empress Dowager would do such a thing, and strap in because this goes way back to when the Emperor was still just the 4th prince. If you watch Legend of Zhenhuan, you might remember that the Empress Dowager has 2 daughters. In this drama, they are Heng Chuo and Heng Ti. We've seen Heng Ti before at a banquet. Heng Chuo, the older sister, was married off to a faraway clan to strengthen relations. The Empress Dowager was still a noble consort at the time and fought tooth and nail to keep her daughter, but in the end, the emperor was convinced, chiefly by Gao Bin, that marrying her off would be in the best interests of the kingdom. The Empress Dowager has never forgotten that, so her line is pretty much, you took my daughter, I take yours. This is incredibly petty because I really think Gao Bin did that for the good of the country, not to spite you specifically. Not to mention, your daughter gets sent away so you kill his? How is that fair? To be fair though, Hui has also done more to make the Empress Dowager dislike her. Aside from being just generally unladylike and always causing drama, it's the way she uses her family's power that made her public enemy number one. Galbin has been helping the emperor since he was a prince, and so of course he now enjoys a very high position in the government. He's practically indispensable, and Hui knows it. We do see a few instances of her using her father as a weapon. For example, after the whole eunuch Wang fiasco, Wang doesn't say a word about Hui's involvement because his family lives in an area under her father's control.
你是王静不会说了什么吧？他的家人在宫外，有高大人在。
As we know, Aro was unwilling to rat her out for the same reason. She even uses her father against the emperor. For example, when he's upset with her and stops going to see her for a while,
我要给阿玛写信，让他向皇上进言求情。
贵妃真的让高冰替她求情？
是。
For obvious reasons, the Empress Dowager is not impressed with that. Then later, the Empress Dowager finds out that RuYi's father's death was not an accident. He was murdered under orders from Galbin, and it was just made to look like an accident. Galbin couldn't possibly have any motivation for this aside from his precious daughter. So yeah, Hui is stupid, but also incredibly dangerous. That, coupled with the Empress Dowager's hate for her father, is why she had her killed. Till next time, thanks for watching.